Hello there. Welcome to Paranormal Experience with Kat Hobson. I'm so glad you're here because, we are having such a great week. I hope that you are too, but our house is a happy house. I will take that. And it's even more fun when I get to welcome someone here that A, all of you know, and B, is one of my best friends. It's the only man my husband ever trusts to take me off places. So, and bring me back. Trust me, everybody brings me back. So, anyway, my guest is my friend Rick McCullum. And he is beloved in the paranormal community. You all know him. He is the founder of Hollywood Ghost Hunters. He is a SAG actor. He is a stunt coordinator as well as a stuntman. And he did indeed get thrown into steel barrels at 30 miles per hour. And it did indeed hurt. So says he, and I trust him implicitly. This is someone that I think is one of the most special people in the paranormal field. And I think really because he's my best friend that, talks to me all the time, he's also just about the best guy going anywhere. So this is my friend, Rick McCullum. Hello.
Hang on, I'm still writing the check out to you. How many zeros this time? Seems like a lot.
I think that one was probably 7.
Yeah. Well,
hey, if you're going to go there, hey, I'll ride that horse out, right? Don't even go there with me.
I don't blame you.
And Lori is in chat says that she is watching on the shuttle. She is on her way to Augusta, or the Augusta area from Atlanta Hartsfield. And so she is the center of our dynamic trio. So, or terrible trio, dynamic duo, or terrific trio. That's what we are. But
more likely just a bunch of bums walking around.
But we do a lot of walking.
We do a lot of walking.
So it's all good. But
by the way, that's one of my favorite places in the background.
I'm shocked. I can't believe you would say that. It's one of my favorite pictures of it too.
Seeing as I stay right down the street all the time.
Yeah, but I took that. That's one of my pictures.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah, I kind of thought that might be one of yours because it's actually all in focus and
and the colors of the stones and stuff came out really well in that. And that's untouched. That's just the way it came out. So,
by the way, if anybody's wondering, that's Roslyn Chapel in Roslyn, Scotland.
And there's a glen going down the hill from it that we wandered through for days. It felt like.
It's an awfully big glen. And we didn't even get to the part where they have all the festivals either.
We were in the wild. So it worked out great.
We'll go down the other direction next time and get into that.
I'm good with that.
So we avoided that because of the steep and goofy looking stairs.
I liked our steep and goofy looking stairs. Now, for those that don't know, if you've ever been on the Appalachian Trail, these stairs were probably the inspiration for how they did that. They have the wooden, cross ties going down between flats. And it was interesting because, as we all know, my knee sometimes rebels on those things, and so do yours. So
I never rebel. Mine just give out and let me just fall down the stairs.
Fortunately, you're professional, but don't try that at home for our listeners.
Yeah, Lorraine Dorsey. I was like, who is Lorraine Dorsey? Lori's been known to have a bad knee or two, or feet, or all kinds of stuff.
We share. She said, me too. And yes.
We are a mess. I don't know why.
Actually, hers are her feet.
Yes, hers are her feet, ours are our knees. So.
And Julie was just walking everywhere with us.
I cannot wait to get back to Scotland and to get over to Ireland. I'm like, I'm going now.
And, I sent you a message, I think yesterday. There is a ferry from Ireland to Scotland and back.
Well, I knew that.
You did not.
I did.
We were just talking about that.
You asked me about that and you said, is there a ferry? And I said, yeah, but I wouldn't want to be on it.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't know.
No, that's the North Sea. It actually is. It's not anything you'd want to just hang out on.
It's open water. Wide open water. Well, the Haunted Scotland guys took the ferry over 2 days ago. So Brian and Gregor are over there doing investigating things.
Without me, those dirty rats.
I know, me too. I was just kind of like, that's why I sent you the message that said there is a ferry. So
yeah, it's
they took a van.
Well, that's because they've got their new van they just bought for all their equipment and everything else, and they're looking all studly now. So they're going to take the van with them. Trust me.
Well, hence the ferry.
I got to tell you, that is two really nice dudes.
And really fantastic investigators. Well, and patient.
Yeah, they put up with me, so they got to be pretty patient.
Wait, what did you say?
I said they put up with me. They have to be patient.
I thought you said they put up with me, and I was going to say, hey.
No, I was talking about me.
Put up with me.
I was talking about my favorite subject, me.
Well, lucky for you, that's the subject of tonight's show. So we're going to have a lot of fun.
Well, let her rip, potato chip.
Well, people are always shocked when I say this, but I'm not a horror person because I'm an empath and horror movies just slay me. So I don't watch them. But I did see you in the airplane movie.
Oh, did you?
With your two characters. So, I did get to do that. So I have seen your work.
Well, I've been in a few things. I mean, I've been in 75.
Been in a lot of things. What, 70?
75 shows, and then there's TV shows I didn't count, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's one of the things that I like about you is that if you're going to do something, you're 110%. So that's about right.
Well, that's true. I mean, I'm like a Timex. I've taken a licking and kept on ticking. But,
you've given a few too, though, even if they were in stunts. But, like I said, you were, yes, you really did hit steel barrels at 30 miles an hour. And yes, it did hurt.
Well, I don't think I was going that fast, but I was.
How fast do you think you were going?
I was going well over 20. That's for sure. And then when what people may not know, I was movie called Dark Wolf, and I was the werewolf. I got on the hood, and it takes off going backwards, and I'm breaking the windows and everything else. And then it does the reverse J, where it snaps the whip and makes it even faster. And I go flying off that head first into these steel oil drums. Boy, well, it was so funny. I mean, this is really cool. When you're doing a stunt and everybody comes out to watch, they expect you to get hurt, right?
Well, because otherwise they'd be in their trailers.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there and I just get ready to go. I've got the werewolf suit on, and one of the actresses, Andre Bogart, just an absolute sweetheart. She comes up, she goes, "Are you going to get hurt?" And I went, "Yeah." And she goes, "How bad?" And I jumped on the hood and I turned around and said, "Let you know in a minute." Off we went. And boy, that knocked the slobber right out of me. That's what they call a slobber knocker in the stunt business. Hit you so hard, there's nothing left but slobber all over you.
Well, we had that discussion just yesterday, didn't we?
We did.
That's funny.
The old slobber knocker.
Because that's true. So, and Lori said that she watched the Hatchet movie and she enjoyed watching eating the cookie scene. Yeah,
when they're getting all of the hunters, getting people to join this thing to go kill Victor Crowley. They were all sitting there and they were passing out a plate with cookies on it. Right? So everybody's eating cookies as they're going by. So I actually, because that was back in the day when I had bad reactions to chocolate, which thank goodness that's not the case anymore.
Thank goodness.
I had to have my own special cookie.
Of course you did.
They were chocolate chip, which I absolutely love, and Oreos, I think they were. And then I had just this basic cookie.
Just the cookie, sugar cookie.
I was not pleased. Had a cookie. So, but yeah, that was a fun movie, though. I mean, all four of the Hatchet movies, those are Adam Green's movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kane was the star of all four of them. So that kind of made it a little interesting because when you put me and Kane together,
Oh,
there's mayhem to be. There's just no doubt about it.
there is without doubt mayhem. But I will never forget him because I had just gotten Fate magazine radio, and we were in Lexington, wasn't it? Where
Yeah.
Scarefest is. And we were doing that ghost hunt. And you introduced me and told people that I was the voice of Fate magazine. And I was like, well, it's brand new. We haven't even announced that yet. And Kane looked at me and says, we just did. I'm like, you're damn right. We're good. We're all great. Yes, yes. We did just announce it. He
Hey,
is
when
such a
Jason
hoot.
Voorhees sticks up for you, you got
Yeah.
something going.
You do. And I like him so much. And he's so stoic.
And RA is just a total knucklehead.
He is a knucklehead. I like him too.
And you know what? He's actually a trained Shakespearean actor. I mean, he's pretty smart.
You told me that.
Kane's very smart too. I mean, it's like
Mensa.
yeah. I mean, we've got some people with some brains. Although mine seems to be dribbling out of my ear or something because all of my memories like.
It's all the lack of Tillamook.
It couldn't be from a lack of Tillamook. Matter of fact, I just ate a bunch before I came over here to get on this.
Oh, well, you're going to be all kinds of sugar rushing.
Well, that's why I see the big smile. I'm all mooked up.
All sugared out.
That's right. I got my mudslide in me and I'm ready to go.
Works for me. Well, I wanted to talk some, if you don't care, because I do want to touch base because some people may be seeing you for the very first time. I always assume, which is, how dangerous, that because I know you so well and you do a lot of shows and you've been in the business for some time, I always assume that people know everything about you. But would you mind awfully just revisiting the basics of how you got started in ghost hunting and your paranormal experiences that led you to it?
Yeah. Well, I was living in Chicago with my mom. I was 13 at the time. And my mom was a single mom working and not a lot of money. And my grandfather died. He was a security guard and he died in a gun cleaning accident, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Nobody ever said that, but I knew what happened, right? But he wanted to be buried in Paducah, Kentucky. We were in the south side of Chicago. And like I said, very little money. My grandfather didn't have any money. So we had to go by train. So we took the casket, put it on the train, and rode down to Paducah, Kentucky. When we got there, we put the casket in the funeral home, and we had no place to stay. I mean, that's how fast everything happened. And it was nighttime, and me and my mom just started walking down the street trying to find a hotel. Wasn't the best neighborhood. And finally, we see this one hotel, and it looks like it should be in a horror movie because it's an old brownstone 2-story with the neon light right outside flickering because it's not working very well.
Oh.
And we walk in, and there's the guy downstairs, receptionist, and my mom says, "Do you have any rooms?" He says, "Well, we have one left." And she goes, "Well, how much is it?" And he told her, and she goes, "Well, we'll take it." And he goes, "Well, I have to tell you this, it's haunted." Now, I didn't really know my grandfather, only met him a couple times, right?
Right.
So my reaction being 13, finding out I'm going to stay overnight in a haunted place was, yes! Yeah, that's how excited. It was like the golden ticket to Disneyland.
No doubt.
So me and my mother go up there. Now, you have to understand my mother. She was extraordinarily intelligent. I mean, ridiculous. All she did for fun was crossword puzzles and regular puzzles all the time. And we go upstairs to the room, and it looks like a volleyball court sideways. It's all wood, and it's a big rectangle. And on each side of the room, there's up against the walls, there's a roller bed on each side. So we get in our beds, we go to sleep, and it's probably 20 some odd feet between the walls. I mean, it's a big room. And all of a sudden, I mean, I'm laying there and I hear my mother scream. right? So I'm jumping, trying to, I sit up and I'm going to jump out and defend her with my whole 5'2" self, right? And I look over and her bed is going really fast towards me, and I'm like, "The hell is that?" And then I realize my bed is going towards her, and the two beds went bam right in the middle of the room, and we're just sitting there looking at each other. And my mother finally just goes, "Well, I guess the guy downstairs is right." So my mother decided we would debunk this. Now this is over 50 years ago. Uh, Nobody knew what debunking was. There was no ghost shows. There was nothing.
Right.
There was no equipment. So my mother says, "Okay, let's get a glass." So we got a glass because it's round, and tried to see if the floors were warped by rolling it. Wouldn't go anywhere. So they were flat. So we are like, So I went over and I got behind my bed and shoved it as hard as I could, and it went about 3 feet. Right. So we were like, okay,
Yeah.
there's something going on here. So right then, as I like to tell people, I was hooked. So after that, I just started looking for them, and didn't really have too many things. I mean, one of the real big ones was Bachelor's Grove in
Hmm.
Chicago. I used to go there a few times with my old roommate and ghost hunt. And that was pretty interesting. Um, but my dad, when I got down to my dad's house, and I will swear to this day, I don't know if it still is, but it was the most haunted place in America, and it wasn't even close. I mean, we had so many things happen there. If I can, I'll just tell you one real quick.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
my brother was staying down there, and he was 13 at the time. He came down from Idaho, and the place was built like an H. So my bedroom, oops, on this way, uh, my bedroom was on the right side, along with his office on that part of the H. And then
Hmm.
you go through the middle, and there was the living room, and on the other end there was my dad's room, and then the garage. And it's like 1:32 in the morning, and we had in the garage a heavy bag and a speed bag, right? And I heard all the way in my room. I'm all the way across from the garage, all the way across the house, which was a big house. And by the way, Mikey Thompson went to that house
Yes,
for
he
me
did.
twice to try and find out what was going on. But I get up to go tell my brother, "Knock it off, or the old man's going to kick your ass." Right?
Yeah.
And he's walking back towards me, and he looks at me, and he's kind of flustered. He goes, "There's somebody in the garage." Right?
Now he was young at that time.
He was 13
Yeah.
at the time. Um, anyway, we go walking, kind of sneaking that way. And my dad opens the door, and he's got a gun and bandies with him, right? And he goes, "Someone's in the garage." I said, "I know." And you can hear the heavy bag, boom, boom, boom. And we're like, maybe some kid from the neighborhood snuck in, on the patio or something. So we had a 170 or 180-pound Great Dane that was outside. So we didn't really think anybody got past him,
Right.
right? So anyway, the old man goes, "All right, here's what we'll do. You go out this door and get Tubby, the big dog, and you guys, when I say now, you go in through that door, we'll go in through this door, and nobody get out past us." So he says, "Go." We go in there, and there's nobody there, right? But the weirdest thing is, we can see the heavy bag, and it's going.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, in the middle of that, it goes. You hear the sound of a punch again, and it goes boom, and stops and goes back the other way. So you can just like someone's hitting it, right? And we're all standing there. We're
With
like,
you in there.
with us standing there looking at it, we're like, "The hell," right? So finally, it stops, and we're starting to walk back. And right before the doors, you went out on the side here was the speed bag. Where you go,
Hmm.
like that. And they all went ahead of me, and I was walking out. And just as I went past it, right behind me, it went. I was like, "Oh, let me out of here." So my dad, who was not scared of anything, he just goes like this, and he calls me over, and he goes, "Let the dog in the house." Right. So yeah, that place was so freaky haunted. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Well, the thing of Mikey, and for those that don't know Mikey Thompson, y'all seen him on here before, is probably the best drone person I know. Well, he is the best one I know, but he's also one of the best and most methodical investigators that I know too. And he's great at debunking. And he actually went. You gave him the address, and he went and found that house, and it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there, and it's still got that weird vibe to it, even when you look at it on the pictures.
Yeah.
So I want to go back there. I really do, but I learned that the guy is a widower, and he's probably in his 80s,
Oh yeah.
and I'm not going to go back there and put that in his head.
Well, unless he already knows it. But if would you stay there if you were in your 80s and by yourself?
Yeah,
Would you?
yeah. I think you know me well enough. I'd be like, well, at least I have one friend.
Well, yeah. Well, as long as I'm breathing, you got two. So, that's good.
Well,
But
you do realize the first day I was there, I tore the door frame out to get out of the room. I was so scared.
yeah.
I don't get
Now,
scared very easy.
now tell these people what made you do that.
Oh, me and my friend drove down from Chicago to meet my dad, and I hadn't seen my dad for years.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of real good times when I was younger, and I think he was trying to make up for it. So went down to visit him, and it was one of his workers, one of his salesmen's birthday, and they'd been at the bar, and they were at the house waiting for us to come over. So they said, "All right, well, we're going to take whatever his name was. I can't remember, a long time ago. Wally. So we're going to take Wally back to get his car, so he can go home." And I was like, "That's not a good idea. The guy's drunk as be. You're going to take him to a car." So anyway, Tom and my dad and Wally all take off. And my room is like a ladies' room. And I only say that because it had the, whatever you call that thing that goes over the top of the bed.
Oh, the canopy.
Yeah, it had a canopy and it had the lace.
Canopy bed?
Yeah, it was a canopy bed and had the lace. And right at the bottom of the thing, there was a big window that the moon would come in. So I lay down, and right here, right off behind my ear and on my neck, I feel, and I'm like, what was that? Right? I'm the only one in the house. There's no dog, just me. And I lay back down, and it goes right in the same spot again, only louder. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Right? And I thought, because I hadn't been there very long. I said, does he have a dog? Maybe there's a dog under the bed or something. So I get out and I look under the bed and nothing there. And I look in the closet to see if there's a dog in there or anything. Nothing. So I lay back down. I hear it again. Right? Now I'm starting to get a little nervous. What the hell is this? And I look up and I see that there's a air conditioning duct right up there. And I thought, oh, well, maybe it's just the air conditioner turning off. Right? So I sit up and I'm thinking to myself, they don't turn on, because it was like 4 times it happened before this. I said, they don't turn off 4 times, right? And I'm sitting there, and right the same spot. But instead of, it was, and I could feel the heat. Super hot on my neck. I got up and had one of them slider locks on the door. It was dark, right? And I'm going like this. I'm trying to open, trying to find a slider to lock. And finally I went, screw it. And just went snap and busted the frame completely out and went out, and I'm standing out. My dad lived in a cul-de-sac. And I went out and I'm standing in the front yard, and he comes in about 10 minutes later. They pull in, and he gets out and he looks at me. He starts laughing. And I said, what's so funny? He goes, he got you, didn't he? I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, I said, you know about that? He goes, he does it to everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, this place was not a joke. It was, I'll tell you one more that was really something.
Oh, please, yeah.
I had this great Great Dane, gigantic dog that just absolutely loved me. He really did. Everywhere I went, he went with me, except we always made him sleep outside. And my dad's office had these windows about this wide that went from the floor to the ceiling on each side. And I would always go out and turn off all the lights, make sure the doors were locked and everything else. And there was moonlight coming in from that side that night. And I turned the light off, and I see a head with horns, and I go, right? I flip the light on, and it's Tubby looking in the window, with with the big ears. Right? And I'm like, So I turn around, and I turn off the light to go back to my room, and I hear behind me, And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me, right? And I just kept walking, right?
Yeah.
Of course, they did open the door and say, Toby, you want to sleep in my room tonight? Here, puppy. Of course, he did
Well,
try. He did try to eat my brother twice, so that does count.
and he did not jump over the fence.
No, he did not. He did not jump. For the people there that don't know, my brother and I were on there talking about the haunted house on Cat's show,
Yeah, I had Cash on with Rick one time.
and I told him that when he was young, he spit on my foot. He was like 13, 14 years old, and I couldn't whack him one, although I really wanted to, because he was getting his testosterone was starting to come up, and he was getting that attitude, and I told Kat, I said, ask him if it's not true that he jumped over the fence and the dog attacked him, right? And I told her, I said, well, the truth of the matter is I grabbed him, picked him up over my head and threw him into the backyard and the
Yeah.
dog attacked him, right? So Kat says,
So tell me, Cash.
yes, yeah, yeah. Did you really jump over the back fence and get? No, I did not. Rick picked me up and threw me over the fence and the dog.
It was so funny because he was like, no, I did not. So it was hilarious. But I've got to tell you that, and we were trying to have Vandy on too, but we were having trouble with our camera, and it was just so disappointing that she couldn't be with us. We need to do that again. But because I like Vandy. But it was so funny because none of y'all are really nonchalant about the things that happened there, because that was a pretty extreme haunting.
Oh, it was very extreme.
Yes. But it was also, I want you to tell us about when Tubby went after something in that corridor,
Oh, that was really
because that was freaky.
well. I have to tell the people how I got Tubby, just so they get an
Oh,
idea.
yes. So they'll know the attachment.
When I first went down there with my dad, when I was growing up, we had Great Danes. Right now, this is before I was allergic to everything. Right, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, as long as we're going to stay here, why don't we get a Great Dane? Because it was like 6 or 7 foot high fence, right? And it was a big, big backyard." And he goes, "Now, my dad was a promoter. Sometimes he had a lot of money. Other times he owed a lot of money. Right? This was one of the times he had some money." So I asked him, I said, "Why don't we get a Great Dane?" He goes, "Well, look around, see if you can find one." So the only place I could find was a dog breeder place. And I called up. She goes, "Yes, we have Great Danes." I said, "Well, how much are they?" She goes, "Well, they start at $500. Now, this was 1979.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money, right? So I told him, he goes, let's go look, right? Because he liked dogs too. So off we go. And it's about 30 miles. We get out there, and she's bringing all these dogs. And all these dogs are coming out, and they're all show dogs. And they all come up, and they look off into the distance like Brad Pitt from, Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
It's like every single one of them. I was like, that's not what I want. I want to be able to grab this dog, wrestle him to the ground, give him a couple of these, and have him bite me, and just have fun with him, right?
Play with him. Yeah.
And finally, she goes, "Well, that's about it." And I went, "Well, what about the last one?" She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you got another one." You said, "That's about it." And she goes, "Well, I do have one more, but I can't bring him out because he's vicious. He's the most vicious animal I've ever had." And I went, "Really?" She goes, "Yes." She goes, "He attacks all the dogs. He attacks everybody that comes near him." I said, "Can I see him?" And I mean, I think you can say that this is true. I have a weird thing for animals. Animals just seem to really like me. I mean, like the little fox that ran across the street to hang out with me in Scotland. But she brings the dog out, and he's got a muzzle on, and this dog is gorgeous. He's huge. He's amazing looking. Actually, I have a picture of him in here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it while I'm talking. Where are you, you big hairy beast? I'm looking through my book.
Yes, he's in there.
Little plug.
Little plug, big plug.
Yes, big plug, exactly. But she brings the dog out, and I'm looking there, and he comes out, and he's huge. He's gigantic, right? And she comes out, and he walks up, and she's got the muzzle on him. My dad's standing next to me, and I'm looking him in the eyes, and he's looking at me, and I don't see a single bit of vicious in him, right?
Right.
So I said, can you take the muzzle off? I knelt down onto one knee, and he's like 5 feet away from me. And I said, can you take the muzzle off? She goes, oh, no, 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 no. I said, look, if he bites me, it's on me. Okay.
Yeah.
And she says, well, she says, okay. She says, if you're not going to, do anything, she says, all right. So anyway, I'm not going to keep looking through here. Anyway, she takes the mask off, the dog. And the dog walks over and he gets this close to my face. And we're just looking at each other. And the woman is having a freaking heart attack. Right. So the dirty rat, you know what he did? I mean, that scoundrel of a dog. I'm standing there looking at this vicious killer creature that looks like an elephant.
Yes.
And he takes one step towards me, leans his head on my neck, and leans on me.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, oh, man.
He's been waiting on you his whole life.
And so I just started petting his head, and he's just like, ah. So finally I pushed him back, and I said, sit. And he looked at me, and I said, sit. And he looked at me again. I reached over and went on his butt, and I said, sit. He sat down, and I was like, oh, good boy. Right? So he's like hovering up on me. So we got him, and I said, I really want him. And the lady said, you can have him. I said, well, how much do you want for him? She goes, no, you can have him. She goes, we were going to put him down. And she even told me, she goes, I've been doing this for 30 years. She goes, I've never seen an animal change that much and be so instantly attracted to a person in my life. Yeah. So, but after that, I mean, there was no doubt he went everywhere with me. I mean, it was like I had to lock him outside every once in a while, just have a little peace and quiet. But to tell you the story, what happened that you asked about, everybody was out of the house but me. And I was sitting cross-legged on the floor watching TV, and Tubby's asleep. And all of a sudden, he wakes up and he rolls over like the Sphinx, like this. Mm-hmm. And he looks at me, and his ears go flat, and his eyes go like this, and he goes, right, with that real deep growl. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, this is what she's talking about, right?
Yes.
I was like,
he is flipped the switch.
Yeah, it just took a while. It was on delayed reaction. I said, Tubby, it's me. And he's going, and you can see this. He looked so much like a tiger with the eyes and, the whole bit, and the ears were down. And I was like, oh boy, man, I'm going to have to duke it out with this giant dog, and I looked at him again, and he kind of came up into a crouching position and started shaking. He was so mad, right? He just started shaking and shaking. He's looking at me going, Rrr. And then I realized he was looking right over my shoulder, right? I thought, there's a burglar in here, right? And I went, Tubby, get him. And he went, right by me, right? So I turned around to go help him. If it's a burglar, the two of us are going to jump him, not just him, right?
Right.
So I turned around, and I'll never forget this because all I could see was his back. And this dog was my height when he stood on his back legs. He was a monster of a dog. I see him on his back legs, and he's jumping in the air, and he's biting, and he's growling and snarling, and he's like, ah. But the weirdest thing was his front paws were going, ah, as he was biting and jumping and everything else. So finally he goes back down. He just stands there. He's looking around. Finally he turns around and looks at me and wags his tail, and he comes back. And I was like, I've always wondered, what the hell did he see? Because, he was in full monster mode to whatever was behind me. And it was, at least I was glad he was there.
Well, at least it wasn't you he went for.
Yeah, that would have been interesting because I had to punch it out with a 130-pound Doberman one time who bit off part of my ear, bit through my wrist. And fortunately, he was a sucker for a left hook because I was on my knees when he attacked me. That was my fault.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
No, it's my fault. I was playing with him when he was asleep, and he just popped right up and went after me.
Well, because I think that it's the same thing with humans. If we're asleep and something messes with us, we correlate it, I guess, to dreaming. And I've come up out of a bed before, ready to do battle.
Well, what the weirdest thing was? My brother was there too, right? And Vandy was sitting in the room. And when the dog goes up, he was a trained attack dog, right? He was a beast, right? Real nice dog, but he could go to town when he wanted to. And It was so funny. I mean, me and him were fighting. I grabbed him by the chain and slammed him on his side and leaned on him. And he went to bite me, and I stuck my fist in his mouth. Right. I'm leaning on him, and he starts whining. And I don't want to hurt him. He's our dog. Right.
Yeah.
So I turn him loose, and he turns around. He bites right through my wrist. Just boom. Right. Blood coming out everywhere. And I look at him again, and he kind of crouches back, and he looks at me, and he growls, and he starts to come towards me. And I just went, and he looked up, and I went, whap! And he just went, boom, down he went, right? In the meantime, my brother, who is in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
ran and hid in his bedroom.
Well, he was not a martial artist at that time.
And the funny part was he locked the door, right? And I went over and I said, Cash, he doesn't have any thumbs. You're safe, okay?
I'm taking one of the little pull down push up things, right? It was an actual knob.
Yeah, but thanks for the backup, bro.
He would have your back now.
Yeah, he. Oh yeah, he would. But I mean, he was gone when he saw how vicious this dog got.
Well,
and I didn't have a choice because I was like 3 feet from him. And it was. I mean, it wasn't like we had a choice. I mean, it was on instantly before anybody could think of what was going on. So, but I have to tell you something really, really cool. When I came back and I had 8 stitches in my ear because my ear was hanging from where he got me. We came right up my face, and I pulled my head and it went, and he got the ear.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and then I pulled him, threw him down. He bit through my wrist, so I had a cast on. And Vandy will tell you this if you ever talk to her. We're in the living room, and she had a big house, and he's over by the fireplace, and he's got his head down, and he's kind of shaking, and you can tell it's his version of crying.
Yeah.
Right? And he would look over at me, he would go, and he put his head back down. Finally, I went, "Hey, stupid!" Right? And he looks up and he goes, "Come here." And he looks at me and says, "Come here." And he comes, "I'm not going to die. They're not going to send me to the doggy pound or whatever you do." And I said, "That's okay. It wasn't your fault." And I'm petting him. He's like, "I love you so much, man. I'm sorry." So, but that was a pretty good brawl. If you could have get
yeah.
It was worth the price of admission. Blood, blood everywhere, holes, casts, pieces of ear hanging out.
So dead sexy, man. Dead sexy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, sometimes you gotta throw fists though to save yourself. I mean.
Well, you do. And that's even with people you love, animals. I mean, I had to do it to a horse once, but not a closed fist, but it was a smack on the nose. Pretty good.
I did punch a horse one time. When we lived in Oregon, there was a horse that was right next to our place, right? And I would always pet him, right? He was real friendly. He'd always come over his head over the fence, and I'd pet him. And I don't know what he went after. He went after something. Matter of fact, you can't see it here, but you can see it in person. He chomps on my arm. And I'm patting him, and he goes, right? And they've got molars like humans.
Yes, they do. Right? They've got big old molars.
And he chomped on me, and he started chewing. And I'm like, stop. And I'm trying to, and he wouldn't stop. So finally I just went, socked him in the head. And he looked back at me like, "Why'd you do that?" And I said, "Trying to eat my arm, dummy." But it turned yellow and green. We had to go take it to the doctor and see what happened. And
bacteria. I mean,
they didn't give me shots or anything. They just cleaned it up. But yeah, so I have slugged a horse. I know my dad slugged our horse one time because it took off with me on the back and was just bucking, and he just bought it for my stepsister. Mm-hmm. And this thing had come from the rodeo, and they didn't bother to tell him that it was a bronc.
Oh, right? Dear.
And he got on it, and it was just throwing him all over the place. And it finally, I swear I saw this, it did a flip trying to crush him underneath him. The old man fell off, and he says, "All right, you come over." And I'm 13. Right? This is in Oregon. He goes, "You get on." He goes, "You get on. Maybe I'm too heavy. I'm not really a horseman." My first time ever on a horse. So I got on it, and it took off running into the field across the way. And I mean, it was bucking, and I'm hanging on for all I'm worth. And I look over and I see my dad running across the field. He's running for everything he's worth. And he runs over and he jumps up, and he jumps and grabs the horse around the neck, right? And the horse is still bucking, and I go flying off. And I landed on my back, and I'll never forget this. My head was about that far from a big rock where I landed.
Right.
and my dad's got hold of it, right? And the thing's still bucking, and I just see him go, boom, hit this thing, and the horse kind of stopped, and he grabs the reins, and he's like, come on, right? I'm like laying on the ground. Anybody care about child down? Ricky's down. Somebody do something. And I got up and staggered back to the house. So, but yeah, he that horse was crazy. He called the guy up that bought it from me. He said, come get this damn thing. This thing's a maniac.
Yeah.
The guy
Well,
goes, well, it wasn't a bronc. You know, he said, well, you could have told me that. I told you I was getting a horse for a 11-year-old girl. What are you giving us this thing for? So,
I've never understood why people do that. Because I worked in a stable just for riding time when I was in high school, and there was one horse that was a rental, and they should never have put an inexperienced rider on that horse. And he was one of those go to the barn horses. I mean, if the reins get loose at all, he's out.
yeah.
And so I was bareback because he'd been ridden all day, and I just, had taken the saddle off and was just riding him. And I just wanted to go down across the pasture and come back. 'Cause I hadn't been on a horse all day, right? So he starts getting, he realizes we're going to the barn, and he is 200 miles an hour going straight for a fence. And I'm like, I don't think he jumps. I've never seen him jump.
Gonna find out in a second.
We're going to find out. And he got up to that fence and he just stopped. And I was like, I almost made it. I almost held on, but he was sweaty. And so I slid up him and got all of me was around his neck. So I just turned loose and, tucked and rolled because I didn't want him stepping all over me. But he stood still while I fell. So thank him for that. But it's weird when they go out of control like that. And I've never been on one that was bucking that bad. But I can only imagine. I would not like that.
You ought to make a faith song out of that. I can only imagine. It seems like a good title.
You are so
I know.
Iowan. You're Iowan.
It explains my singleness.
Yeah.
Girls are
I wasn't going to go there, but okay.
Girls are like, no. No, just not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent.
Wouldn't be prudent.
Wouldn't be prudent.
Oh, please. Every girl is like, oh, Ricky.
That's not. I can tell you of one that right downstairs that doesn't feel like that.
Well, that's because she has a reason not to feel like that. But
well,
okay.
I guess.
But it was an earned reason.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm not going to go any further with that. But
we have to get something in here before we go off.
Well, we've got an hour.
And I want you to say it instead of me. I think that you should tell them what happened in the museum.
Oh my gosh. That was okay. When we were in Scotland, we were in Edinburgh, and Rick has a friend who is the director of monuments. He's a wonderful man just because. And they were letting us investigate, first people to investigate, like real, not just a tour thing, the Writers' Museum in Edinburgh. And I was excited because, oh my gosh, right? So we went in and we were given the tour, met the women that did the guiding and stuff. And everybody there was just wonderful. And we started on the upper floor, and Rick will tell you that I was pretty stunned by what happened. There were two rooms and they were like together like this. And the room over here had a cabinet and some documents and memorabilia and items and things of that nature. But everybody was in the other room. So I turned and went in the other room, when I finished in there. And we were talking about the people that have been there, all the items that were in this room. and I got whacked in the back of the head. I thought. I mean, I put my hand back to see if I was bleeding or not because it hurt that bad. And I'm like, what the hell did I do? Did I fall down? Who hit me? And so I'm doing all this analysis, and Lori Dorsey looked over at me, and I guess I looked funny because she was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I just got hit, and it was right under my skull, like at the top of my neck, base of the skull. And I was just like, it wasn't getting better. It was not even starting to abate at all.
Yeah, I remember
And
walking in on you, and I'm like, "What's
well,
going on here?"
yeah, you were across from me. You were talking to Jay Craig.
Yeah.
And so when you turned around and realized it, I mean, you looked like you had seen a ghost, but I must have been pale or whatever. I don't know. Lori recognized it. But I finally looked at the young woman and I said, this is going to sound so crazy, but has anybody here died? Has anyone died here from a head wound? And Jay Craig was like, well, I don't know. And he looked over at her and she was like, well, actually, a man that was staying here was leaving and fell and hit his head on the marble stairs. And, they brought him in and nursed him. They paid for his medical bills and everything. And they paid for his funeral. He had died there. And I said, well, where? She said, the documents, the billing and stuff are in the room that you just came out of. And I was just kind of like, oh my word, really? Because that doesn't happen to me. I mean, I am not an evidentiary physical psychic. I have stuff, but that was the first time something that extreme had happened to me. And it happened twice while we were there. Not there, but while we were in Scotland. And that was enough.
Well, see, you know what? There was another thing that happened at a museum, but that was at Belgoni.
Yes.
And you were very much involved in that one too.
Some of us knew what was happening. One of us did not.
I do believe I just got the backhand slap. Payow.
Hey, Jeremy. Yeah,
Hi,
well, that
Jeremy.
was a very nice one.
I got a little smack there from actually Kat and I wrote an article for Fate magazine
We did.
that I think they're going to use. They said they were going to anyway. But
Yeah.
the weirdest thing that happened there, and Kat, you should jump in because you saw, seeing as I was like dumb as a freaking post.
You were not dumb as a post, but you were. I think that the level of activity is what kind of threw you off a little bit because it was definitely extreme. I mean,
Very,
it was
yeah.
just to set this scene. We were, and Rick didn't know that this area that they have made into the museum at Balgoni actually was part of the original castle. It was along the wall. And so it's a very important piece of the castle. And so we were in there. We were doing a public investigation because it was kind of like, oh, come hunt with the Americans kind of a thing with Scottish Paranormal. And since, we love and admire them, we were so honored to be asked, be able to do that. It was so exciting. And so we were in the area, which the museum had a door over on this side, and that was the door into the Laird's workshop. He was a master leather crafter. He was a brilliant, brilliant woodsman. I mean, he was an artist with wood. He carved all of the doors for the castle. I mean, long winters, right? So he did all these things, and he was a brilliant artist. And
don't forget the best woodworking thing, though. right next to his
Oh, yes,
bed,
his coffin.
his own coffin. He made his own coffin. He
He
put down the
did.
date he was born, and he said, "Now all they have to do is pick me up, drop me in there, and put the date on there."
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So,
he was something. That guy.
well, he passed away when we were there right after we had left from our first trip. Rick had gotten a chance to, they kind of said their goodbyes. And so this trip, everybody knew that if there was any way that this was a real thing and a possibility, that the Laird was going to be there when we were there, except Rick. And so we're in the museum and we have our first group of people coming through to investigate with us. And I had a fully charged digital camera, night vision camera. I had my stuff out too. We had Mikey's REM pod. And if you know Mikey, you've seen him on the show. He is a tech guru. Okay. Everybody has K2s. They're all through the room. Um,
The Mel meters.
the millimeters, everything is going.
If there was
So,
anything that could light up, it
and
was
make
in that room.
noise.
It was in
And
that
make
room.
noise.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there and Rick's leading the conversation. And he was like, is there anybody, here? The REM pod, which was to my left and kind of in front of me, but to my left, lit up like the frickin' 4th of July. And every REM pod's going off, every millimeter's going off, every K2 is going off, and my camera's turning off. Fully charged, good to go, no reason to turn off, gone. Every time I turned that camera on, it died. It still had a full battery every time.
Well, Mikey
So,
gave you a couple of extra batteries that were full, and they died.
yeah.
So
But my battery never died. We
yeah.
tried different ones, but my battery never died. Every time it would turn on, it would have it, but it turned off about, I think it was 7 times in the video. So I'm sitting there and I finally just quit trying.
Well, I do have to interject something in here,
Yeah.
just so you guys know what we're talking about. The first time that I'd ever been to Balgony Castle, me and the Laird just became great friends instantly. I mean, for some reason, he really took a liking to me, and I really liked him.
Past lives.
And I mean, so we were actually really, really good friends. And that matter of fact, when we were there the one time that we were all in the back room, and I was afraid he might not remember me because it's been a couple of years because of COVID and stuff like that. And he was getting older and he was sick. And it was so funny. He sees Jay Blumke and he introduces him, and Kathleen Burns, and I think Mikey was in there. Cheryl, I think, was in there, and me. And in the middle of them, all of a sudden, he's looking at everybody, he's getting introduced to everybody, and he looks up at me and he goes, and he sticks his hand up, right? And he grabs my hand and he pulls me down, and he whispered something to me, and I went, I got to go outside. There's a lot of dust in here. And I went outside, and I didn't fool anybody. That's why I was a stuntman. I was a horrible actor. So, so anyway,
I'll give you that.
Anyway, so he and I just, for some reason, I mean, he just really took a liking to me.
Yeah.
It was like we were old souls together. I mean, that's the only way. That's the only way I can say it. It was like we had been big buddies in the past, right? But,
Definite past life connection.
Yeah. So that after he passed away, I was obviously the first time coming back without him being there. And well, you can tell him the rest. I just wanted to tell him that we were actually bizarrely good
You're
friends.
very good close friends. Well, the funny thing was that we had how many 8 people in that group besides us.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a K2, everybody's got everything. And one of the women is like, if this is a Laird, can you tell us the passcode that, to let us know it's you? I don't know if anybody ever checked anything to see if that happened or not, because we didn't know anything about a password. That was Gregor. But, all this stuff is going off, and I had figured it out. Mikey's figured it out.
Everybody figured it out.
Everybody in the room and everybody's just gone quiet. We're all just sitting here watching the stuff happen, and Rick's like, I can't believe this. This is so much. And the light, as it came on, just came on a dimmer switch, right? It was like, oh, Oh, it's the Laird. And
It
it was.
was no doubt it was him. Yeah,
So, but it was so cool.
it was him saying goodbye to me.
It was.
It was about as touching as you can get.
Well, it was the best way he knew to do that. And the thing that got me about that, Rick, was that we had three other groups come through there with us
Yeah,
after that one.
and nothing happened.
There was nothing in that room.
Yeah, it was just you get one big shot and that was it.
Well,
And
that's
then
what
you
he
remember the
wanted to
very
do.
next night. The very next night, we went to a graveyard in Inverness, and
Yeah.
we're all going around. I've got my K2, and I'm not getting diddly squat, nothing.
Yeah. That's because Julie was getting all the K2 action.
Yeah, I was out there for an hour at least, and not getting anything. And there was just one girl walking with me. Now, we'd walked 9 miles, according to Lori, I think is what she said, and my knees are shot. Right, and my knees were just killing me. So I'm looking around for a chair or something to sit on, and there's nothing there. And I look, and right next to me is a tombstone that looks like a bench. It's built like a bench, right?
Yeah.
So I just looked down. And I said, "Please, no disrespect, but I can't walk another foot. I need to sit down, right?" And I sat down on it. Instantly, the K2 goes all 5 lights, and the girl that's with me goes, "Oh!" Right? And I said, "Are you telling me to get off?" Boom! All 5 lights again. And I went,
Yeah.
"Can you give me 30 seconds? My knees are so sore." Right? And it flickered like on 3, and it flickered and it flickered, and then it went 5 lights again. I said, "Are you telling me to get off now?" Right? He goes, 5 lights. I mean, this was as instant as you could get. And I said, "You trying to tell me to get off?" He goes, boom, 5 lights again. I said, "Do it right now and I'll get off." Bam, instantly. And I said, "Well," she goes, "What are you going to do?" The girl goes, "What are you going to do?" I said,
Get up.
"I'm going to get off." But the girl was like, she was stunned. She was like, "I've never seen anything like that." And I said, "Tell you the honest truth." I said, "I haven't either." I mean, it was so 100%, no doubt about it. It was the guy I was sitting on. It was, "Get off
That
of
sounds funny.
Get your big fat ass off of me."
That was pretty much it, too. But that cemetery, out of all the places that we went, when we were at Roslyn and we were starting down, into the Glen for our hike, we passed, the cemeteries. And I had not been to that side cemetery because we had gone down to the lower ones when we were there before. But as we're walking out of the Glen, I looked over and there's a grave, a headstone that's just covered in seashells. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so I had just found out, or had just recalled, while Lori and I were talking, that Buchanan is one of our family names. And I'd even bought the Buchanan tartan because it was so pretty. I just like the colors. But well, when I went and looked at the headstone, that was a Buchanan grave. Do you remember that? I took a picture of it. But
yeah, I do remember that.
So, that was a family thing, but that's the only thing I'd ever seen that I knew to be mine when we were going through graveyards. So I just figured I've got more English than Scott. But when we were in the cemetery where you had that experience, I found my grandmother's maiden name, and it's the only one that was in there.
That's pretty cool.
So it was Kemp, Kemp. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Because her family is primarily Native American and immigrants also too, of course. But so now I'm doing a lot more genealogy than I had been because of those two things. It was fascinating to me because I just thought, how apt that one of my ancestors would have seashells on their grave.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, by the way, Liam Shand, who's the head of Highland Paranormal,
love him.
They are the ones that took us to that Inverness graveyard, and actually, he took us all over the town, showing us his entire tour, which is really cool. But he also told me, he said, "By the way, you're the first group that has ever ghost hunted there." He said, "Including me. I've never ghost hunted in that graveyard either." So we actually had 4 firsts where
That's
we were.
unusual.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Well, I thought that Fair Maid House would be more active than it was. Lori got some activity downstairs with her K2, but that was the only real blatant activity that there was there.
I didn't get a thing in that
And
place.
that was from what, the 1400s?
By
And
the
it's
way, I have to show you guys something. If I can
show
actually,
away.
if I can get it on there.
Go down. And go down and lean it closer. Ah, there he is.
That's my boy.
Yeah. We knew you were going to find him.
That's
So,
Tubby. Tell me, does that dog look like a Tubby to you? He looks like an Arnold.
Arnold.
The dog was
Well,
all
he
muscle.
does look feisty. And he was feisty. But
Well,
not with
he
you.
tried to eat my brother twice, so.
Well, it's because you fed him to him.
Well, yeah. Well, the second one I fed him to him. The first one was his fault.
It
So
was.
he tackled me the first day he was down there, and I just shrugged him off and threw him on the ground. And I went to get the ball, and I heard him scream, and Tubby had hold of his head and was dragging him backwards into the back of the yard. And I was laughing. I had to go over and extricate them, right? And Tubby was really mad, like, don't you dare touch him, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
I was
that's
laughing
because
the
you
whole
were his
time.
human.
Yeah, I was laughing the whole time. And finally, my dad said, what were you laughing about? I said, well, I could just imagine saying, me coming in and you going, well, where's your brother at? Well, Tubby ate him.
Well, Cash is pretty hard headed. That's why he's won that world championship. So it's all good.
Well, that dog actually, too, once I got him loose, right? Cash started screaming again, and he chomped on his side and shook him like a great white shark. Just went, right? I had to loosen him again.
Gosh.
Yeah,
I'm surprised your dad didn't shoot you for letting that happen.
Well, nothing I could do about it. All of a sudden, there he was, just chomp.
That's hilarious.
And Tubby figured he'd chomp on him again. And you know what? That's the only people he's ever bit was my brother twice. Well, actually, 3 times.
But Cash was so funny about that. And for those of you that don't know, Cash is a younger fighting size Rick. So same personality, very outgoing. He's probably more outgoing because he does sales, but you would be a great salesman too. So y'all are very similar. It's so
Take
funny.
that back. Take that back right now.
I will not. I am
back.
not. Oh, come on. He is so charming. You're charming too.
Not often. Every once in a while, a little charm will slip out the edge. But according to that girl, Lori, she goes, "You're really blunt." Well,
you are blunt, but I'm blunt.
Sometimes.
Maybe we just understand each other, so we don't get bothered by that part.
Well, I'm not mean blunt. Yeah, that's
depends on the scenario.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to be mean blunt, I will be, but rather not.
Yeah, I know. Well, you would much prefer to have a gentle conversation.
Yeah.
And I really think that's one of the things that I like the best about you is because, you can be rough and tumble if you need to. You can be austere and mean and blunt and rah, 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 rah. But you have so much compassion. Be careful. Lori is getting off the shuttle. But so
do I have time to move?
she is on outside Augusta. She is on her traveling day. So, but she's listening on her phone. But, it is just, you really are to be as, bad guy and woo, the way that you do, like you're sitting now, you go into that security mode, lockdown mode, and you are one of the nicest human beings on the planet.
Oh, don't let that get out.
I just did.
Oh, dang it.
To quote Kane, we just did. But it's really and truly, yeah, I did learn some things from Kane. But one of the things, really and truly, you always are so surprising. You always say it, and it's even in your book, that people are nice to you.
Oh, it's my only superpower.
It is, but it's because you're nice too.
Yeah, but people are nice to me just right off the bat, like the Laird. The Laird was, right? And
Well,
he
the
was,
Laird told you all the state secrets the first time he met you.
well, he told me half the first time he told me half of it. He told me the second half later on. So,
But
I mean,
still,
and,
but I
you
mean,
know,
people do that with you. When we met, we were friends within 10 minutes.
I know
I still
it's
have
like,
that picture that we took at that scare fest.
I think
I
I do
mean,
too.
it was so much fun.
I actually have a picture of you with a Hollywood Ghost Hunter hat on.
Yes, you do.
Yep. So, of course, where they may be in this computer, I have no idea.
Well, I'm kind of like that. I'm on like probably my third or fourth computer since we took those pictures so long ago. But it's really funny because we have obviously known each other in past lives because that connection was immediate and strong. It's not romantic, it's genuine friendship. And it was genuine friendship without romance when we met. You know,
You know
we were,
what
we,
it was
we
like?
were like brother, sister, but
It was like Tonto and the Lone Ranger. I mean,
it was like Tonto and the Lone Ranger. And we take turns on who's who. But, you
well, I was
know,
going to say Thelma and Louise, but I don't look that good in Louise's clothes.
like usually I'm Louise to Lori's Thelma. So depends on the day. We take turns. But
By the way, before you say anything else, I got to rat you out.
oh
When
dear.
they were at an airport, Kat sees Lori. One gate over there, she goes running over to say hello to her and
Yes.
just flattened her. They both boom down they
We
go.
did. And the weirdest thing was she was flying through Atlanta to JFK. I was flying through Atlanta to Edinburgh, to Amsterdam to Edinburgh. And so the odds of this happening, but we were at Atlanta Hartsfield and she was in A14 and I was at A15. We were next door to each other. And there is no way that that's an accident at, at that size of an airport.
And then you assaulted poor Lori.
I did. I knocked her to the ground. And I landed on top of her.
That's always the best thing. If you take someone down, get on top.
It was so funny because, I was exuberant. I was so excited. I was going to Scotland. I was seeing my girlfriend. We've been friends forever and ever. We're besties. I mean, you're my best guy friend. She's my best girlfriend. We have the best time together. And we were going on our first international trip and we were coming to meet you. It was a good day.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic. And so she did not stick the landing.
Well, you helped her stick the landing.
I stuck her to the floor. I just put her right down and went on top of her.
I'm surprised somebody didn't throw a flag on the play.
Well, WWE, are there really any rules?
No.
Yeah, no.
Look over there, she's poised on top of the counter. We're getting ready to jump on you.
I'd have run. I inflicted, I don't receive it. So
I have to tell them the story real quick.
What story?
Lori and Kat and I were in Edinburgh. We're walking up the Royal Mile, and we're getting towards the end of it. And there's these cement pillars that stick out.
Oh my gosh!
So cars can't come across and hit the people that are in the restaurants.
Yeah, well, because that's a pedestrian area. That part's not driving. It's Victoria Street.
Yeah, and I'm actually no, that wasn't Victoria Street. That was the one that was up above Victoria. We would be coming back around the other side to where your ice cream place was.
Yes.
So we were up above, and we were walking
leaving the ice cream place.
And I actually had a religious experience there. I'm walking
along.
He
smacked the hell out of these pylons.
Yeah, I'm looking up and something up above, and I hit one of these pylons with both legs at the same time and went face first right at the ground and went boom. And I hit the ground, and all of a sudden I just was levitated. And I was like, well, at least I'm going in the right direction if I just got killed, right? But it was all the Scots people went, oh, I'll pick him up.
Oh, sir, let us help you.
Yeah, my feet, my toes, and everything about me. Just went,
but I will give you credit because you had on your Hollywood Ghost Hunters hat, and you stuck that landing, and the hat never moved because you grabbed your head and protected it and held onto the hat. So kudos on you.
The hat. The head's hard. I know that'll be okay, but I had to save the hat.
Well, your stunt skills were definitely in play with that because that was such a good. If you have to have a fall, man, I'm surprised you could stand up after you knock those shins like that because they actually hit right below your knee.
Yeah, they were pretty bruised up there for a while.
Yeah,
Matter of
but
fact, you know, it's funny, when I went back there, I'm walking along and there's a lady in front of me and she's walking right at one of the pillars and she's looking up. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am." And she said, she stopped. She goes, "Yeah." I said, "I fell over one of these." And she goes, "Oh my goodness." And I said, "Yeah." Right. And I just kept walking. So she would have done a face plant.
yeah.
Of
So
course, she
you
was
say,
taller. She might have only got up to her waist and went and stuck. I don't know.
but we did actually this trip go straight to the ice cream place.
Well, I knew if I didn't take you to the ice cream place, you'd rat me out to David. They
I
were mean to
would,
me, David. They didn't take me to the ice cream place right off the bat.
yeah. But that was, it's really funny because we were such good friends when we first met, and we lived so far apart, and yet we have hunted together in Tennessee. We,
Kentucky.
yeah, I mean, and every time I come to California, you flee the country. So, and so, yeah, I can take a hint, man. I can take a hint. It's all
Well, I
good.
mean, every time you
Um,
come out here, I have to hire a bail bondsman. Get one on retainer just in case.
that's true.
Um,
You don't
well,
lie.
no. Besides that, you're always going to be at some place like the thing in the desert.
Contact.
Yeah, that you like to go to,
Yeah.
and that's generally right around the time that I head off to Scotland.
Leave for Scotland. Yep, the 1st of June.
Yeah.
So, but I will tell you that when you sent me down to that first alien con that I, no, the first one was outside of San Francisco. The second one was the one that was in Pasadena. And so I called you that time because, international calling, free text or whatever. But I was like, where should I go if I want to go and look around here? And I went down, you told me to go to the beach. Okay, but I went to the Queen Mary because I was on my way where you told me and I saw the Queen Mary sign and I thought, well, I'll just go on the Queen Mary. I'm sure they have a restaurant. I'll have lunch on the Queen Mary. So, and I got to walk around with a piece of equipment in my hand and do a little mini investigation while I was there. But, it really is funny because we don't see each other at each other's home place. So
Oh,
we travel to do that.
tell them a story. There's somebody at my door. I'll
Oh,
be right back. I'll be right back.
we'll be right here.
I'll be right back.
Meanwhile, do y'all want to know all the dirt on Rick? Because, like, we could always act like I said all the dirt on Rick. He is such a nice man. Y'all know he is. And I can't believe he answered his door. He must know who that was. So, one of the things that got me was when we had Cash on with us, his little brother, who is like, he is the mixed martial arts kickboxing champion of the world. I don't think he is this year, but he's amazing. And he is a real estate agent. So he looks like the nicest, biggest person on the planet. And I have on one of those Dolman sleeves so I can go wide like that. But he was so nice. And to hear him talk about some of the things that happened in that house, Rick has always told me about it. But I thought that it was going to be, I thought that maybe Cash would think it was more tame because he doesn't really do the ghost hunting thing. And if anything, it was more extreme when he was telling me about it because it blew him away. He was younger, obviously, than Rick at that time. So, he didn't have I guess the aging to kind of handle it better or something. But when I asked because Rick told me, he said, ask him if he climbed over the fence. He did not.
He did not.
He said, no, I did not climb the fence. Rick threw me over that fence. And I was like, yeah, he did.
Yeah, you know what's funny around here? I've lived in this building for 30 years.
Yep.
And nobody can find out where the apartments are. I mean, I'm over there and I'm like Sacagawea trying to tell this guy how to get to where the other things are. But it's so funny. It starts at the bottom and they work their way around and then they get to like the one corner and you have to go upstairs, but it stops up there. And then you have to go down to the next thing and go up and go through. Yeah, it's a nightmare trying to find anything. And when you get the delivery guy going, yeah, do you know where number 15 is? Well, yeah. Well, how do you get there? Well, that's another question. Yeah, over there, but you got to go down here and then you got to go down there. So I'm standing out there. No, the next one. Go, go to the next one.
Well, I just told everybody all your secrets, so it's all good.
Are they bored to death by now?
I think Jeremy was snoozing.
Jeremy, I got my shirt. I got my shirt on, Jeremy.
And I was going to put mine on, but I was cold, so I went with a sweater.
Yeah, I've got my paranormal award shirt on.
Yep.
That was actually from Jeremy's thing.
Show
Jeremy,
people.
I want to win something else this year. Them dirty rats from Scotland won one.
I bet that you would. Well, you've got a new book coming out. It's not paranormal, though.
Well, that's true. I've got two that are going to come out. Neither one of them are paranormal. And then I've
Yeah.
got a paranormal book that's going to come out. If I can ever get off my lazy ass and start typing them. I mean, I'm putting them all in, into order, and then I just have to write it, which isn't all that hard.
Some of us find it harder than others.
Well, you've got like four sentences left in your book, and it's been that way for 6 years. So
Well,
I told you I want to buy the first one, so get to it.
Well, I will do that. But I've actually, because I kept thinking, why don't I have all this stuff put together? Where are those things? Well, I put them in my Google Drive.
Oops.
So when I went into my Google Drive looking for something the other day, I was like, wait, there's 5 stories here. So yeah, we're doing the finishing touches now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too.
Hey, and can you imagine that Gregor, our buddy Gregor Stewart, who was one of the founders of Scottish Paranormal, has written 23 books?
Yep. And he's got Haunted Parrot out now too.
Yeah, he's a busy boy.
Well, and not only that, he's also known, if you're looking for him, he's billed as the Haunted Explorer. You can find him that way. And he does St. Andrews tours, which, by the way, we stayed in the dorms at St. Andrews when we were in Scotland this time. And since you told me now that there's a bus station there right out from our door across from the bookstore, then that would be a great base to go anywhere because we could take the bus to the train. I didn't realize that. We Ubered.
Yeah, well, if you actually have more than like 2 or 3 people, it's better to just take a cab to the bus station or to the train station.
Well, I don't know. I don't mind a bus. Their buses are not like our buses.
No, but the buses can be. God
bless you.
Oh, allergy season on the buses is what I was going to say. No, but like we took the one bus, the one thing cost us $100 for the cab.
Yeah.
But I mean, it took us a long way.
It did take us a very long way.
And it took 5 of us. So I mean, that was only $20 a piece. So
yeah. And I will never ever get over you not letting me get off at Croy. I was devastated. I'm still devastated. You're such a harsh guy.
Wouldn't let you get off at where?
Croy.
Troy.
Croy. C-R-O-Y. Guys, we were on the train, and it was my first time on the train going from Edinburgh to Perth. And so I'm sitting there, and I read Scottish history novels, right? And there's a town called Croy, and the laird there, the house is by Marino. Okay, so we're sitting there, and I see Croy Station coming up on the thing, and I'm like, oh my God. I reached over, I grabbed Rick's shirt. I said, we've got to get off this train. And he's like, what? I'm like, we have to get off the train. This is Croy. I have to get off this train right now. We all have 2 pieces of luggage each, plus backpacks, plus this, that, and the other. The train is pulling into the station, and Rick's like, we're not getting off this train. And as we're pulling out, I see the sign for Balmerino, and I'm like, ugh, I am so going there. So that is my goal when we go back to Scotland. I am going to Croy, and because I'm sure there's haunted places there. There's haunted
Oh,
places all through Scotland.
when I get on these other podcasts, people always say to me, well, what's haunted in Scotland? And I'll just say, Scotland.
Everything.
The whole freaking place is haunted.
It is.
Actually,
And
Lori, who's probably still listening, she and
yeah.
I had a good one. We were walking up during the daytime to go to Calton Hill,
Mm-hmm.
which is real famous on top. It's got all these monuments, and you could see that, it's very panoramic of the whole city. And it's like a 75-yard or maybe 100-yard. You went up there. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The cement pathway with the handrail in the middle. And we're going up in the daytime, and we're going. She's ahead of me, and I'm walking. And I hear a guy like right off to the side of me. Now, this is all hedged in. There's nothing.
It is hedged in.
Yeah. So we're walking, and right here, kind of snotty sound. I hear somebody go, "Pardon me." And I turn around to say, change the volume on that, buddy.
Yeah.
And I look down, and I can see like 75 yards of the ground. Ain't nobody there.
Yeah.
Right? And I turned around, I said, did you hear that one? She goes, oh, the guy saying, pardon me. I said, turn around. She turned around, she goes, there's nobody here. I said, well, there is somebody here, but it's not anybody we can see.
Yes.
So, I mean, in the middle of the day, you get snotty ghosts,
Well, not all of them are snotty.
No,
You
this
know,
guy was snotty, though.
yeah. One of the things that blew me away was you talked about Gregor, and he's written, was that his 23rd book?
Yeah, 23rd book.
23. And they're all brilliant. I mean, I've got several of them now. And because I just decided I'm going to start buying these and having them. So when I go, I'm just going to have a bag of books because I've got Lee Dunn's books. I've got Gregor's books. I've got all this stuff, and I've never had them with me to get something signed. So I'm going to get at least 1 or 2 of them done.
Well, there's something really cool about this book.
That book is cool.
You know what's really cool about it? The person who wrote the foreword.
Oh,
Now, who could that have been?
yeah, that was cool.
That was Little Cat Hobson.
It was. But I love that book. So it's such
a good book.
I just love it. And then with your second book, Jay Blumke wrote that forward, and he wrote such a beautiful forward. I felt like I should go and rewrite mine.
Yours was great, and his was great. I was like,
Jay is just a wonderful person.
He really is. I was like, I can't live up to these 2 forewords. Yeah, I can't live up to these. Superman couldn't live up to these 2.
Oh, please.
Spider-Man maybe. Well, Superman could. Yeah. Spider-Man definitely gets nothing. But yeah, I am looking so forward to really getting out and ghost hunting again. Yes. I think Mikey and I and Julie are going to go to Wolf Creek Inn here eventually.
Julie's really become a ghost hunter.
Yeah, actually, I bamboozled them into it.
Yeah.
Because it from where they're going to be living, it'd probably be about 850 miles away. And I told them, I said, well, I'll tell you what, I always drive up there 750 for me, right? I said, but if you fly into Medford, I'll pick you up and drop you off.
Cool.
So
they're such nice people. And we're talking about Mikey Thompson and Julie Chuley, his wife. And we had the best time with them in Scotland. They're both nurses, both very high level skill nurses. And they were brilliant and fun to have with us. Julie learned that the K2 was a real thing. When we were at Temple, um, she and I, yeah, because I was getting stuff down by that creek, but I like verification, right? And I'm seeing it on my thermal imager, but I still wanted to see if there was, because I didn't have my K2 with me. And so she came down there with me with her K2, and she became, I'm serious, through the course of when you gave her one in Inverness, she was on it. She discovered how cool that is. You really helped her become interested in ghost hunting
Well,
because she was.
I think it was probably Mikey that gave it to her because Mikey has a lot more equipment than I do.
I thought you gave her a K2 to walk around with. I
Oh, I
know
did.
that you were guiding her with it.
Yeah, I did give her one to walk around with.
Yeah.
But we, you know, at the very end of the thing, Mikey had given me an extra K2, and I said, "Mikey, do you care if I give this to somebody?" And he goes, "Who?" I said, "Jay
Yeah.
Craig's son is
Oh,
crazy about this."
yes.
So he and I gave that one to Jay Craig's little boy.
That's somebody else. I mean, you always say that your superpower is that people are nice to you.
That's true.
And and I always tell you people are nice to you, which is a superpower, okay? But your other superpower is that you're kind to them.
Yeah,
People
don't let that
react to oh, people react to you because of who you are and what you bring with your energy. Your I'm always glad that you like me because I wouldn't want to be somebody that you didn't, because you do have that side also, but you are one of the kindest people. What?
I was just thinking, yeah, you saw my side, and I actually saw yours. But
Yeah. Well, we saw him at the same time, so
yeah,
we were defending each other.
a couple people
That's
tried to get in
funny.
our face, and that did not work out well for them.
No, they did not. Well, they are, these people had Rick double teamed. It was a husband and wife team, the idiots that we went on that first tour with. And I will say, don't ever go anywhere mysterious for an adventure. But anyway, um, they had Rick off to off to the side, and I'm like, oh, I don't think so. So I walked over there, and I'm just standing there, and I'm like looking back and forth, and I'm just, And this woman said, "This is between me and my ambassador." I would ask. I think she asked me to leave or something. And I'm like, I don't think so. No, not moving. And and she stopped her foot at me.
She did.
And I'm like, oh, girl, I know you did not. I
She came
just
to the
know.
real. Both of them came to the wrong place to bring the
Well,
intimidation
he
game.
tried to step up to you.
Yeah, that didn't work
And
either.
so something that none of the four of us knew was that Mikey was behind me
Yeah,
and
I didn't know
spotted
what
this
he did.
situation. So he was sitting there ready to go. And and the funny part about all of that is that the three of us aren't those people. I
No,
mean, I would never initiate a conflict, certainly not in a foreign country where I'm not sure how I'd get out of jail, right? But I would never initiate a conflict with someone that was I was working with in a professional capacity. And you wouldn't either. I mean, if you're gonna feel froggy jump, because then something will happen, but neither one of us are that person.
you
And
know
we're
what's
both
so weird?
professional.
We both told them off very sincerely, which they got the answer without raising our voice at all, just looking at them and
Or
saying,
cussing. I did
"Yeah,
not cuss.
I didn't either."
Nope. Nope.
So it was strange. I mean, how they were all bulked up, to be scary, and we just kind of went, "Okay, shoo."
Really.
Yeah,
It's like, you
in the
really don't
Immortal
want
One,
to come here.
do you remember in Tombstone when Val Kilmer turns on Doc Holliday turns on, he goes, "Oh, you still here? You may go now."
Yes. Yes. And I'm just like, well, when she was sitting there and da da da, and I'm like, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that like I care. I don't
then,
care.
then she stormed off.
It was excellent.
Then he went
But
for his tough guy thing, and then he stumped away.
did you like my tough guy thing?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, thanks. Are you scared yet?
That was pretty
So,
good.
but, you know, and that is something that for all the people that we have come across who are so absolutely freaking wonderful, and they are. I mean, the Haunted Scotland people, their subscribers that came to the event, the J. Craigs of the world, there's not many of them. I'm glad we know that one. And we haven't even talked about the History and Horrors tour with Lynn and Gary and their family. People are
And,
so fantastic, and we do need to talk about them because they took us all over Scotland.
yeah, they did. And then they had Liam.
And got her dad to help too. Alistair was wonderful.
Alistair was cool. Yeah, that's if you guys ever go to Scotland, look up. What is the name? History and Horror.
History and Horror.
Yeah, it's yeah. We got to get into a lot of places that we normally wouldn't get into.
Well, Mingus, we got to go to Mingus, and we say Menzies, but I have been so corrected so many times. I did, however, find a creek in Cherokee, North Carolina, that's Mingus actually spelled correctly that I'm sending Greg the sign for. But just so he'll know. Greg, I'm kidding. I know you're going to watch this.
They kept going. It's Menzies, right? I said, yeah, we're going to go to Menzies. They go, it's not Menzies, it's Mengus. I said, it's not. It's Zies is Z. It's not Gus.
It has two E's.
Yeah, it's like
it has two E's.
Yeah, no, not falling for this.
That place was astounding. When we got out of the car, Mikey turned around. He was like, "Oh my God, we're standing in a picture," and it's exactly what it looked like. It was beautiful.
Well, the Bannockburn,
yes,
where we got into, which is impossible to get into, but we're able to finagle it. Yes. You know why? Because my only superpower is people really nice to me. But when you think about right over near that castle is where the big final battle from Braveheart, where they actually won their independence from, was right over there.
Yes. And, that's one of the things that struck me. And it has struck you too, but I've only been twice now. You've been quite a few times. And the history of that country is so violent.
Oh, yeah.
And so storied. I mean, but the people, and I mean, these are the people that ran the Vikings out of their country, as you told me to tell David when he was worried about us going the first time. Yeah. And I did, and it worked. But, it's, it really is the kindest nation. I wouldn't piss them off.
What's strange about them, though? They're so well known for, their battles. Mm-hmm. And they have to be the nicest people you'll ever meet.
They are the nicest people. But I will say that something that people here seem to forget is that it's easy to be nice when you're known to be strong.
That's true too.
And their history is in every village, and it's in every heart, and it's in the blood that was shed in their fields. And when we went to Culloden, there was so much energy in parts of it, but as a rule, that was a horrible thing. And
I hated Culloden. I really did.
I did not care for it myself.
No, I mean, it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
The history is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, this attack that they attacked the place where the British were already set up, had,
with weapons, with
better weapons and everything else. And they had like 700 yards to run through a bog, carrying shovels and scythes and stuff like that. And
against guns.
Yeah, against guns. And they said, attack. And
an Irishman
drunken
was
Irishman
who gave the order to attack because he had been left in charge.
Yeah. And I mean, I would have just said, I ain't going.
Nope.
There's no chance any of us are going to get through this.
And the
You
ones
know?
that did, they came through and killed.
Yeah. You know what I would have done? I would have said, no, I'm out. Hey, guys, come with me. We'll find another place to fight these guys.
Yeah.
You know, because they'll
It's
follow us.
definitely a live to fight another day scenario.
Yeah, but it was just, I got so mad looking at it. It's like all these people died. And they just out of sheer stupidity of one man.
Yeah.
You know? Matter of fact, you'd think the Scottish people go, you know, if I would have been back there, no, I don't think so.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, I'll be right behind you.
Show me the way.
You'll go first. I'll be right behind you.
That's a pretty good accent. Mine's, I have Southern Scotch.
Southern Scotch.
That's what Greg said. You're a Southern Scot. So,
well, you know what? I am so glad that Ryan O'Neill, who is,
yes.
I think Ryan was the founder, him and
Greg.
That he's on this TV show, Haunted Scotland, and now it might be Haunted something else because it changed. Haunted Ireland.
Spooked Scotland and spooked Ireland.
Yeah, so when I first met him, I had no clue what that boy was saying. No clue at all. We went to Ireland.
That's true.
And he was in the back of the car and he's talking to me. Finally, I turned around and said, "Will you speak English?" So he started going, diddly
diddly dee.
Yeah, diddly diddly dee, diddly diddly do. Yeah. But now you can understand him because he's so used to speaking for television now.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
now,
Ryan from the telly.
Yeah, Ryan from the telly.
I did tell him.
He got me though. When I went, you might have been with us. I went and he said, and I went, "It's Ryan from that." He goes, "Shut up! You've done 75 movies."
Yes.
It's like,
oh, but we were at the barbecue.
Yes. I was like, okay, you're right.
That was such a lovely place. That this was a church that had been converted into a home in the middle of a cemetery.
Yeah.
And you found a relative in that cemetery.
I did. I found one for Lori.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a McCullum in that thing. Matter of fact, you know, in back into the history, it's very possible that one of my relatives killed Macbeth because it was one of the Malcolms that killed Macbeth.
Interesting.
And the Malcolms are my family.
Yeah.
Remember we saw the McCullum bar?
I do.
That's spelled because that's the way it was always spelled before. But yeah, I got an A in there. You take that out. Not the way they spelling it. Yeah, knucklehead.
Well, maybe he would have thought you were the Americanized knucklehead.
Well, I am the Americanized knucklehead.
You know, that I want to go back to the history and horror people because not only did they, you know, they transported us everywhere, but Gary has started a ghost walk in Perth, and we were his guinea pigs. And that was when you weren't feeling well that day. But we went all through Perth, and we went into, they have a Greyfriars cemetery as well. And the history of Perth is so, it's been flooded so many times with so much death and just bizarreness. But that was the best ghost walk. And the love that they felt for all the places that they took us. When we were in Dunkeld, do you remember where that bridge was? And that was a beautiful, wonderful town, and it was active.
I do remember when we were in Inverness watching these drunk guys fight. I was like, boy, I think I know little kids that can beat those guys up.
I could have kicked their ass. They were so weak.
They were so...
slap, 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 slap. Yeah, that was hilarious. And I don't fight, but I still could have kicked them.
You and Lori could have taken that whole group of them out.
I would have held Lori's purse. So, but Lori's the one that carries the purse, so maybe we would have traded out. But that was the biggest slap fest I've ever seen. Oh.
Actually, you know, I think everybody thought I was being some kind of creep the night in Inverness. when I walked Claire back down towards where she was going,
Oh, I
and
don't think so. That's
that's
just
when
who you are.
that's when you guys spotted me because I was up ahead, and then
Yeah.
I
Well,
came
you're
back.
up the hill,
Yeah, and I looked down and I saw you
and I was
guys.
like,
And yeah, oh, there they are. So I
yeah.
asked her, I said, "You got another block? You okay?" She goes, "I was okay the whole time." I said, "Didn't matter. I was going to walk to the end."
Now that girl is is a brilliant psychic, right?
Yeah. Well, besides that, she's great with the dowsing rods.
Dowsing rods.
I mean,
Yes,
those.
I have the ones that she has. I'll show you.
And you know
But
what else is funny about her that a lot of people don't know?
what's that?
She's a martial artist.
That
And
is surprising. But you know what? She's
she's
built.
actually pretty good at it too.
I bet she is. I can't
And she
imagine
didn't
her
realize
not being good at
I
something.
was walking with her, so I'd be protected.
Yes, I could see that. But I actually have the rods like hers now. See?
Oh, those are nice.
I know. Oh, yes, hello.
Yeah, those are real
I
nice.
know.
They're better than the ones I
You're
was
making
getting.
your video debut. If you'll be still, I can do the other one. Do you want your friend to come with you? Whoa, hello. Okay, just smoke them if you got them. I'm working here. But anyway,
Ah,
oh stop.
no,
You're
that
so
was funny. I liked it. Smoke them if
so.
you got
But anyway, these are just like clears. Whoa, hello. Or we're going to be okay. Everybody, I guess you're getting a hug, but straighten out, please. They're not going to work because they're on TV. They're going to be bashful. Straighten out,
them.
please.
Well, you've got them leaning down too.
Well, you're supposed to have them leaning down so that no, 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 don't swing. Don't swing. Do you see my friend? Do you see my picture up there on that thing? Well, you're okay. Well, they're both kind of pointing that way. One of them's pointing at you, one of them's pointing at me. So, but they're still, there you go.
I had to show something to Claire because she didn't believe me. She goes, "You want to try these?" I said, "No." And she goes, "Why not?" I said, "Because every time I've ever tried them, and I ask the first question, it always does exactly the same thing."
What does it
And
do?
that's what she says. "What happened?" I said, "I will ask, where is the strongest energy here?"
You.
Right? She goes, "What happens?" I said, "Every single time it turns around and points at me. Every time."
Yes.
She goes, "Show me." And I said, "Where's the strongest energy?" She goes,
Yeah.
"Holy cow." I said, "It happens every time."
Okay. I'm good. Yeah. Stop. Go back to neutral. So I don't even know. I haven't I haven't used these very much because I haven't been home. But it's really funny because when I got them, I put them out to cleanse them because we had that monster moon.
Yeah.
And so I guess now they're checking you out. So
Hi, guys.
hello. But okay, will y'all just go back, straighten up, straighten up, straighten up. Okay, I'm gonna put y'all down and we'll go outside and do stuff when I get through with my show, okay?
There you go.
All right, so I'm just gonna put you over here.
I will say that Claire and Liam's pretty good too, actually.
Barry
Uh,
was.
yeah, but I got to tell you, Claire is by far the best I've ever seen. I mean, I mean, I watched her the first time I was there. That you guys weren't
Yeah,
there the first time I was there, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." You
she is
know?
amazing.
Yeah.
And Barry was using hers when we were at the Stones at the Colic Cairns.
Yeah.
And somebody should have told me because I don't watch Outlander that stone was what you're supposed to transport through.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is like with their hands on it.
I thought I
Ah,
told you that. You know, I told
I'm up there with my hand on it, like,
I sent a picture of it to. I know I told you. I think that's why we took a picture of you putting your hand up on it.
well, everybody had taken their picture with their hand on it, so I just wanted to take my picture with my hand on it.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know I was supposed to be going through it.
Well, the last time I was there, because I was there the time before you guys came next time,
Mhm.
and I took a picture of it and I sent it to Jay because I knew that Natalie was a big Outlander,
Right. Yes.
and that rock is a big part of Outlander,
Well,
right?
that's the whole transportation thing.
Yeah. So I sent it to her. I said, "Hey, Jay, I thought Natalie might like seeing this," and he says, "Don't touch it. You'll go back in time."
Yeah.
And I wrote back to him, "How do you know I don't want to?"
I could see you there. Yeah, I
Yeah,
could. But
I know where I would go to the day before I hurt my knee.
yes. Oh my gosh.
You gonna play that? You gonna play tonight? No.
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 Oh, if I could go back to the day before I fell, I would so do that. I would not go to that bike rack. I would go get a drink and hang out instead.
Yeah, it's
So, hindsight.
yep.
But I was actually doing what was a healthy, good thing. I just stepped on landscape crap. So, but
And
we hobble around the world together.
down goes Hobson. Yeah, that was funny that we had three people all limping everywhere we went.
I
It's like
know, right?
they probably thought we escaped from some sort of convalescent home.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Well, I
looked,
will have you
like a
know
dead
that,
person anyway. The last time I was like,
yeah,
everywhere we went. You know what? I'm down to 216 and a half pounds.
I do know that.
I mean, I'm looking scrawny,
You're not scrawny.
compared to my usual fat self.
Well, you're a lean, mean, fighting ghost hunting machine.
Well, I was almost a ghost hunting fighting machine the other day. I was at the gym and this guy's standing there and he goes like this. He goes, "Wow, you're in really good shape." And this guy was 65 years old because we were talking back and forth about working out.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, thank you." I said, you know, you're in pretty good shape too." And he puts his hand up on my chest. He goes, "Yeah, you're in pretty good shape." And I went, no, just no. And
Not for you.
Yeah, no, don't even do that.
You know, that would be so disconcerting.
Well, I don't get mad about stuff like that.
Well, I mean, where's the
Oh,
point in getting mad? But it's still invasive. Somebody
yeah.
did that to me, I'd lay them out cold.
Well, there's the difference when a guy does it to a girl. When a guy does it to another guy, it's just weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
What do I do here? Am I supposed to sock him? Well, I don't really want to sock him. He's not doing anything evil. You know, he's just saying you're handsome or pretty or whatever he's trying to tell me.
Well,
Now
there's
move thy hand or I will rip it off of your arm.
there you go.
I'll rip your arm off and I'll beat you over the head with the wet end.
Exactly. But you know, it's really funny because you know, you haven't really actively been trying to lose weight. You've been trying to strengthen.
Yes.
And so the weight's coming off anyway.
Well, you know, because I walk to the gym all the
I
time.
do know.
And I've been doing lots of leg exercises.
Well, that's good. So you're going to be able to do my next 100-mile challenge in the freezing rain.
I'm in.
You're the kindest, nicest man. I mean,
Well, somebody had to step up for that one.
but
It was for my charity and for my friend. I mean, come on now. How can I let that go?
that was the nicest thing that anybody has probably ever done for St. Jude's. So,
Well, they don't
and
know
I'm
what
going to
happened.
tell people because I had signed up for a challenge, and
And you had to pick the shortest month.
February, 100 miles in a month.
Only 28 days. And couldn't you pick one with 31? Sheesh.
Well, I didn't know you were going to be walking it.
I demand 31 days.
Yeah. And y'all got that monsoon cold season.
Oh, God, that was horrible.
Guys, he watched.
People don't understand what happened. Kat signed up and got sponsors for her to do a 100-mile walk in 1 month. And the money would go to St. Jude's, which I give the money for my books to St. Jude's. And I can't remember what you did. You fell or something happened where you hurt your leg. Yeah. And she couldn't do it. And she was all bummed out. I said, well, it doesn't really matter who does it, right? She goes, no, I don't think so. I said, well, I'm in. Here's the tag, right? So I went off and about halfway through, we had the worst rainy monsoon.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
I was actually taking pictures of it outside. It was like I was floating down the street. It was like, jeez.
And I'm sitting there going, "Don't do it, Rick. Don't do it. It's not worth it."
I promised I'd do it. So,
You did. And you're like me. You're going to do it come hell or high water.
well, I was getting to the corners. I thought I was going to have to swim 100 miles because, I mean, everything was underwater. It was
Oh,
like
it was so bad.
California is not used to water. I
And
mean,
it
when
was
it rained,
cold.
yeah, oh God, it was freezing.
Yeah.
But we made it.
And what
I
did you
I
do?
made it 99 miles, 99.9, and I said, okay, you're up.
Yeah. And I said,
You go through the finish line.
"I'm going to the mailbox." That's what he did. He called and said, "You're going to walk to your mailbox now." And I did. And I was so boo-hooey. That was so cool. I wasn't boo-hooey on the call. I kept my stuff together, but I
No,
was just kind of like,
you,
"Ah."
you had to be involved. It was your thing.
I started it and I finished it, thanks to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So, but that was fun. I'd do it
Yeah.
again. I mean,
Well,
right now I probably walk 100 miles a month anyway because I keep
I
going to
think
the
so.
gym.
Yeah.
And then I walk down to Gelson's, which is 2.5 miles that way. It's 2.5 miles to the gym and back. So that's,
Yeah.
I'm always walking somewhere.
Yep. And I would prefer to be walkable, but I have to go and walk.
Yeah.
So that's okay. I don't
Well,
mind.
I don't mind walking, is because if I'm just walking where I'm normally going to go anyway. So
Yeah.
I would hate to have to do it around a track. That would drive me crazy.
I don't know how Lori does that because I do water aerobics for my energy burns, and Lori walks laps, and I would be in a coma. I would
Well,
be sleepwalking. I don't
I
like
need
it.
to say this on your show, and this comes from both me and Kat. And this is for Lori, whatever the last name is,
Lori
Dorsey.
Dorsey,
We are proud of you. You have come so far from when you
we
had the,
love you and we are proud of you.
yeah, you've come so far. I mean, I remember the first time me and Mikey were practically carrying you everywhere. And the last time we are like, wait up!
Yeah,
Slow down!
because she does her power walking. She does the speed.
And she always
And
yells at me. She
yes.
goes, what do you think about this? I said, well, you need to change this. Why should I do that? Here's why you should do that. Oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
okay.
She just wants to know why.
Yeah, and then she'll come back and she'll say, oh, that's really working. I said, what would you think I was going to try and, do something?
Sabotage her. You're going to sabotage her. You
Yeah,
mean boy.
I might have to if the way she keeps going. Running me into
But
the
we
ground.
are really proud of her because you know what? There wasn't one time at all that she needed help when we were in Scotland.
No,
And, but the main thing is that she's so much healthier.
yeah,
And, that to me, because I am fully planning on us being, little old ladies at the nursing home when we're 90. I mean,
can I be a little old man? Because I don't really want to go have a sex change when I'm that old.
we'll let you.
Thank you.
We'll
I
let
mean,
you be the guy.
I would have had that done years ago. I mean, if I had those inclinations, I would have done it when I was 20.
Yeah. But, it's
By the way,
really,
did I tell you I got rescued by a drag queen at the gym?
yeah,
That was cool.
that is cool.
He came to my rescue. Bruno the drag queen, I think he is.
Is he Bruno?
His name's Bruno. Yeah, I don't know if he's a drag queen. He had on shorts and he had really nice legs. He's a pretty guy, and I just said, wow. If he's not, he should be.
Yeah.
I make a lot of money. But yeah, a real nice guy. Him and his mom were working out together.
Oh, that's nice. You don't see that a whole lot.
Yeah,
But, that's one of the things I'm so excited for. And, everybody got in shape for Scotland.
that's true.
And so now we're going to Ireland next year with Secret Island tours. And there's still some spots, I think maybe one or two on your tour. And so it's pretty exciting. Do you still have your QR code where you can get to it?
Yeah, it's right here. But where is it? Come here.
And he's going to flash a QR code that you can scan, and it'll give you the information on the trip.
If I can find it.
If you can find it. If not,
No, I know. I
You
know it's
can
right here.
you
But
can go to his Facebook page, and he has the information, or you can go to Secret Ireland Tours.
here it is.
Oh, and now we have it.
This was the first one I was going to give you, but it's really not that much
There's
info.
nothing there. Yeah.
Not much info on there. But, but here is the
The actual. Take it up above your name. There you go. There. Be still. Now you can scan that, and that will give you all the information that you need to know to do it. And if you don't have a chance to scan that, Secret Ireland Tours LLC.
Now listen to this. I'm not going to read about me because I already know what I'm about. This is the first tour to Ireland to investigate places like Leap Castle. Now, if you're a ghost hunter, you got to go to Leap Castle, Wicklow Jail, and so much more. You'll take in the north of Ireland, visiting Crumlin Jail, the famous Giant's Causeway, which I really want to see. That's all the
Me
rock
too.
formations. That's something really I really want to see. You visit the east and south also, visiting Hellfire's Club, Rock of Cashel, Spike Island, and you'll stay in an authentic 18th century castle before you fly home. So
That'll do.
and you know,
And I
so,
bet we get to stay in that castle.
you know, it's so funny. Just because I had that other tour I did that was not the best. She was reading off something. May was, and I said, "You forgot Leap Castle," and
Yes.
she goes, "Leap Castle's not on the tour." I said, "Well, the thing that you sent me, it's the very first thing."
Yes.
I mean, that says Leap Castle. I don't care what you say; it says it right there.
Yes, it does.
There it is, Leap Castle.
Yep.
And she goes, "Oh no!" I said, "You better call Sean." He goes, "You know Sean?" I said, "Yeah, I know who. I know more people than people give me credit for."
I know, right?
So she calls him up. She calls me the next day. She goes, "Well, we have Leap Castle now." I said, "You better after you advertise it." And she goes,
And
and she goes, "And not only that, there's another castle down that way, and I picked that up on the way." So
I love her.
Instead of us getting less, she got more. So that was cool.
What a novel concept.
Yeah, I'm not used to that.
Well, we are about out of time, Rick. I need you to tell people how to find you, anything you want them to know.
Here I am. Oh,
there he is. Go get him.
If you want to send some money to St. Jude, I have 2 books. Ghosts Believe in Me, which won the Paranormal Book of the Year. Yay! Thanks, Jeremy.
Yay!
And the second one is Ghosts Believe It. The spirits are out there and they're waiting for you, which is absolutely true. So
which has a brilliant cover. Both of your covers were taken while you were actually ghost hunting. I think that's wonderful.
By the way, that I think I sent you this. I don't know if you read it. That the promo that you put up for this show, best one I've ever seen.
Thank you.
I mean, it was really something. Matter of fact, I've saved it, and I'm thinking about making it into a business card.
Oh, well, cool beans.
So that's pretty cool. But
thanks.
Yeah, if you go to Amazon and just look up my name or Ghosts Believe in Me, you'll find it. And like I say, all the profits go to St. Jude Hospital. And come join us in Ireland.
Yes.
Right now, that's so cool because it's September 1st through the 9th. And right now, you can make time payments.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not as painful when you're going to travel and you can make time payments.
It is true.
It's like, oh, well, here's a little chunk of money. Here's a little chunk of money instead of going, here's a big pile of it,
Yeah.
And it's actually not that expensive. Right?
It's not. It's reasonable.
And it's got some great places in Ireland. I'm really looking forward to seeing that again. I think I'm going to go over there early because I want to go to Kong, because Kong is where they filmed The Quiet Man. Hi, Paul.
We have Paul in chat. Hi, Paul. So this gentleman it is morning for him. So it is early morning for him. He is
Paul is the one that sent us around. He's the one who sent us around Bannockburn.
He certainly is. And I'm so glad that he could join us. Just as we're about to go, Paul, but there is going to be, this is going to be everywhere. So it'll be on my Facebook page. It will be on the Things Network page on Facebook. It will be on both of my YouTube channels. and my LinkedIn, and it's on the X also. So X under Para Experienced. So
So I
do
think
go
we can
see it.
both. I think we can both say that if you go hang around with Paul and Lynn
You're gonna
Cartwright,
have
all those people, you're going to get some first class treatment, and you're going to get to see some really good stuff. So
you are that was a and it's beautiful.
yeah,
So Bannockburn, the grounds were beautiful. I actually saw a deer out the window when I was looking over the back. So it was beautiful.
yeah, that's where I totally screwed up my my intro and just said, "Oh, screw it, I'm going to bed."
Yeah, you did.
I walked
Hi,
out.
Rick.
Yeah, I said, "Hi, Rick," and I went, "Oh, screw this, I'm going to bed."
That is not what you said, but it was
I,
close.
I'm being nice because it's your show. I don't know what's allowed on your show, but
Well,
you
I
can.
don't. If I don't say it, we don't say it.
Yeah, I didn't say it,
So
but
thanks.
it was funny though. It's like, come out.
He was. He had been. We had been. He had been more than us without sleep because he was not feeling well. So, well, that's it. That's all, folks. We have had such a good time, and thank all of you for a lot of changes at Bannockburn House. Oh, good for house and not so good for events. Well, you know what? We will get there. So I am excited that you're here, Paul. And I'll be reaching out to you if you want to come on too. I'll get with you on Facebook. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much for listening because you're the reason that we do these things. And the show is everywhere. Just go find it. Because Rick is brilliant. And if you missed any of it, you can check him out. Rick, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you.
Well, I'll be on anytime you want me. I'm, I'm,
Well,
I expect the villagers to all come charging in there and carry you away. Don't put that guy on anymore.
the villagers are not. Hugs around, right, guys? Thank you. Or night. Thank you for showing up, Paul. We love you.